Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of October 7, 2018. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What an amazing week it is. We have an active and powerful sky playing out right now. There's a sense of powerful beginnings and change that must happen. There are strong emotions rising to the surface for a whole lot of people out there throughout this week. You add to this a moment of brilliance and seeing into the future, and a pivotal moment as part of the larger Venus retrograde season. Well, it does look like it's going to be an active week. So let's start with the new moon. Right out of the gate, early in the week, we are going to have a new moon in the sign of Libra. Now, the sign of Libra in and of itself tends to be one of interacting with others. It tends to be congenial, it tends to be friendly, and gracious. That is a big key word when you think of the energy of Libra. However, this new moon is going to be speaking with Pluto in a conversation that astrologers call a square. It is a conversation of tension and motivation and digging deep for the truth and for greater understanding. There can sometimes with this be an awareness of how it is that our interactions with others, whether it's one-on-one interactions or between entities, between countries, between companies, where it is that it can be gracious and friendly, but also where it is that there are power dynamics that can play out at the same time. It is going to be as we get to the end of the week that the sun will perfect its own conversation with Pluto as well. That does suggest this energy isn't isolated to a moment, but rather, as we have this new moon and emotions rise to the surface, we will still be feeling this energy throughout this week. For all of us, in at least one area of life, we are feeling like we are ready for change, or that something has to change. We're becoming aware of where it is that we can be better, and where it is that we are ready to be more honest with ourselves and with each other. This energy at times can be one that is empowering and empowered. It allows us to recognize what it is that we are truly committed to, truly dedicated to, and to focus on that with all of our mind and emotional energy. That is part of the promise now. But this energy can also be challenging for other people as well. It can feel like there are external factors that are more powerful than what it is that you may want in a given moment. The best way to use any energy like this is always to focus first on where it is that you do have power. A big lesson with Pluto is about focus and surrender. Completely giving yourself and dedicating yourself to a particular path, but also knowing where it is that you don't have power and turning it over to the universe. It is this dichotomy that Pluto can represent and is part of the blessing of this energy. And so we have this new moon that is propelling us forward in meaningful ways, asking us to begin again in the way that we relate to others, and in at least one area of life, the way that we relate to another person or areas and matters and responsibilities in a particular area of life. Even when it's challenging, even when it asks us to dig deep within ourselves and find fortitude and courage, to find truth and to find a willingness to perceive the best, even when we have been hurt before. There's a sense with this energy that there's an attempt to understand other people, an attempt to understand ourselves better as well, of sharing ideas and bouncing ideas off of others, but at the same time, feeling some constraint, feeling like there is only so much that we can talk about. There's only so much that we can allow ourselves to admit to others and to ourselves as well. It is so important with energy like this that we find our safe spaces. We find people that we can share with what it is that we may not necessarily want to share with others. Now, with this new moon, and because it has to do with relations and power dynamics, this can be a time when we as a collective are looking at the power dynamics that are at play between different entities. So again, it could be different people, it could be different nations, it could be different companies, but we are looking at how complex our relationships are and relationships can be with each other. Under the same sky, a few days after the new moon, Mercury will change signs and will move into the sign of Scorpio. Mercury will then reach out across the sky to Uranus, and before the week is out, will connect in harmony with Saturn. I feel like this is going to be part of what helps us to make the most and to make the best of this new moon, sun, Pluto energy. It is this connection with Uranus that is especially inspiring to me. Mercury just moving into the sign of Scorpio helps us to get honest with ourselves and with each other. And it helps us to dig deep to discover the truth. And it is, of course, Mercury, as I've often said, it is the patron of media and journalists. And so whenever Mercury moves into the sign of Scorpio, it tends to be an important time for investigative journalism type of things. And it is this connection with Uranus that says there's also a surprise quality to what it is that is revealed now. In our own lives, in our own individual journeys, I do think that this is going to be a light bulb moment where we really understand more deeply what the dynamics are within us, the complexities that are taking place within us. What is it that is the truth of why we are where we are, why we have the certain people in our lives that we do, why we have the certain dynamics in our life that we do, and what does meaningful change look like? Mercury standing across the sky from Uranus is genius. It is truth. It is insight. It allows us to see through illusions and to truly understand, especially with Mercury in the sign of Scorpio, how to affect the most meaningful change in our own lives. That connection with Uranus can be visionary. It can be brilliant. It can have a prophetic quality to it as well. And this can be an important time for those of you who are writers of any kind. If you use words or your creative energy to your advantage in any way, this is an important time to allow yourself to be open to inspiration. As we get towards the end of the week and Mercury perfects a harmonious connection with Saturn, we take what before is just ideas with Mercury and Uranus and translate it into practical gains. We understand how it is we can apply what it is that we've come to realize and what it is that we know to actually ground ourselves and ensure that it matters for something, that it changes something in our lived experience. Finally, we do have Venus, of course, reaching an important peak moment as part of the larger Venus retrograde season. Late last week, Venus officially went retrograde, and it is going to be in the middle of this week that Venus will reach out and speak with Mars. Now, these two planets are connecting a total of 3 times over the course of this larger Venus retrograde season. This is the second meeting of these two planets. The next time they meet will be about a month from now. And when they meet at that time, both planets will be in air signs and both planets will be speaking in supreme harmony. So this is a change of energy that is coming. What now can feel like tension and attraction and passion and even questions will find its way towards not only resolution, but also inspiration as well. And of course, I'll be here to talk about it every single step of the way. And you can learn a lot more about that by watching the Venus retrograde special horoscope on my YouTube channel as well. But for this week, what's important to remember is a lot of us are going to find ourselves being propelled in a particular direction, being attracted to certain people where the attraction isn't always very convenient. I think that that is not only part of Venus speaking with Mars intention, but it's also the energy of the new moon as well, where we may attract interactions, one-on-one connections with people where there are a lot of complexities lying just beneath the surface. And it can be a time when we attract people into our lives or find ourselves propelled in a particular direction that isn't as clear-cut as we might hope. There can be some other dynamics that need to be taken into consideration, and we tend to find ourselves more attracted to complex people in complex circumstances. Now, of course, in the bigger picture, in the larger picture, as I have shared before with Venus retrograde season, even though all is not as it seems on the surface, especially with a week like this, emotions will be running very high. A lot of us are going to be feeling very intense energies and intense attractions and being pulled in particular directions. At the same time, though, it is very possible that things are going to look very different once we get a couple of months down the road. And it is also possible that things could look a whole lot more amazing and positive and better. And however it is that you define a turnaround that delights you, that is absolutely possible. It is important, though, to stay in the moment to the best of your ability, to understand that with a sky like this, it is possible for misunderstandings to happen. It is possible for disagreements to happen as well. And at the same time, though, it is about connecting to the source of love and understanding what love is for you differently than you have before. With Venus being retro in the sign of Scorpio, it is asking us to be honest with ourselves about what we truly love. And if we can be at peace with what we have chosen to love and whom we have chosen to love. You add Mars into the mix and it adds a level of excitement and intensity. And it adds a level of not only what do we love, but what are we attracted to? What turns us on, what motivates us, what excites us, who it is that we are drawn to, and what it is that's really going on under the surface. What is familiar about what it is that they are awakening within us? Because ultimately that is at the root of all attraction. All attraction is based on you getting a feeling that is familiar, that was put into place very likely when you were very, very young and before you could even speak. And that is part of why Mars is often associated with childhood and the survival instinct. It's associated with our first breath and our earliest emotional experiences. Well, with this Mars still in shadow, technically still in shadow, will leave shadow towards the end of the month. Speaking with a retrograde Venus, it is the familiar now that is awakened within us and that is encouraging us to take action, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense on an intellectual level. That doesn't mean necessarily that you have to do anything or that you have to take action, but at least to note the motivation that is there under the surface can go a really long way to using this energy well, which is ultimately using this energy towards greater self-knowledge, using this energy towards understanding why you want what you want and why you love what you love. It is by answering these questions, or at least getting glimpses of an understanding, that we can choose more consciously to move in a direction of our own choosing. I'm reminded as I look at the sky of a philosopher, Augustine. He was an early Christian philosopher, and he talked about how we have associated love with Eros, right? And Eros is a deity, a Greek deity that is associated with passion and attraction, and that's what we think of as love. But the truth is that that is a very automatic reaction. That is something that is almost instinctive for us as human beings to consider love. To think of Eros as love is ultimately reacting from a place deep within us that is not necessarily enlightened, that is not necessarily of our choosing. It is by choosing to look at qualities like loyalty and honesty and being attracted to those, associating feelings of desire with those attributes that we see in another people, Augustine believed that is when we truly elevate love. That is truly when we reach a level of partnership and intimacy that would not have otherwise been known to us had we not put in the work to practice finding attractive those qualities of our choosing, and not just what we've been programmed to believe is what love is. And I found this, I remember coming across this, his assertion many years ago, and it has really stayed with me, and it really helped me to understand where it is that our conditioning works for us and where it is when we realize our conditioning is not working for us, and that we can reprogram ourselves. We can choose differently. It isn't about necessarily saying, okay, all of a sudden, yes, I used to find that very attractive, but now I don't anymore. But it's more about saying, you know what, I know what I deserve. And you deserve to have somebody who is loyal. We deserve to have people in our lives who can be honest with us, who can give genuine care and kindness and gentleness. And where it is that we see we are not getting that today, regardless of what has been before, regardless of what our childhoods were like or what our past lives were like, it is in that moment of realization today that I am not getting what I know on some level I deserve. That is the beginning of change. But the change isn't necessarily in an instant. Even though with this week, with Mercury standing across the sky from Uranus, there is that very instant, very revelatory quality to what it is we come to understand about ourselves this week. But it isn't always that the change we are hoping for and the change that we know we deserve is an instant thing and a sweeping thing, but rather, very often, the change that we most appreciate is the one that we worked for, the one that we were diligent about, and we put in the time and we put in the effort. And sometimes that effort is a deeply personal process. It is choosing to observe our thoughts, choosing to observe our emotions, and choosing instead to move in a direction that aligns with someone who has a healthy sense of self-esteem and self-value. That is part of the work that is promised to us now, and getting glimpses into what that work could look like. But the thing is that when you are rooted in a healthy sense of self-love, it is work that you can't help but do. You're called to do it. And you know that this work is in its own way divine, because in honoring yourself, you are actually honoring that energy of love and wisdom that permeates everyone and everything. What I love about this week for us, well, look, there's a very active week here, but I do love, yes, we are in love-related lessons, self-love and love for others. But I really do love that connection between Mercury and Uranus. I think that that is one of freedom. It is one of change. It is one of clarity. It is one where in an instant we see things very differently than we did before. And it lightens our load. It changes the way that we view ourselves. And with a week like this, we are dedicated to doing the work, to love ourselves more adamantly than ever before. Well, thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful for it. What do you love about this week? What are you excited about? And how is your Venus retrograde season going? Please let me know in the comments below. I absolutely love reading you guys. I hope that you feel it. I try to put little hearts where I can to let you know that I saw it. Sometimes I can, sometimes I'm just very quickly reading through, but I always enjoy it, and I hope that you can feel a virtual, energetic, digital hug coming at you when you do leave those comments, and especially the love that we share and how we interact with each other. I appreciate the community that we've built here together. If you want to know what all this wonderful stuff means for you and your sign, sign on to nadiyashah.com. Sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. It was and is an amazing moment. Just as I'm recording this, like literally earlier today, I'm recording this on Saturday. Earlier today, I was teaching the first class as part of the autumn session of Synchronicity University. So synchronicityuniversity.com, you can log on and see the wonderful classes that are taking place now every Saturday in the month of October. But as I was wrapping up and as we were ending the class, my channel was literally like just a couple of subscribers away from reaching 100,000 subscribers. And I became very emotional as I was saying goodbye to the wonderful group there. And of course, after the class was over, within a couple of minutes, this channel surpassed 100,000 subscribers. Thank you. I feel like that word, and I feel like saying gratitude and grateful, like it doesn't even cover what it is that I feel. I am deeply moved by the trust that you have shown, the care that you have given, the positive energy that you send my way, and how it is that you and your love and your wisdom shapes me and helps me to be better, helps me to grow as a person as well. So I know that in the coming weeks or so, YouTube will send me a button, a 100K button, and that's very exciting. And I will do an official video unboxing that button. I don't know if it'll be live or if I'll record it, but I will unbox. And that's when I'll share a little bit more about my journey and about my feelings, and hopefully share some things that have to do with inspiring even more people and encouraging even more people to share, right? Just share who you are, be who you are, and stay true to that, and great things will happen. And I do feel in my own life, and I hope and I would love to believe that in the lives of other people as well, something great is happening, like right now. And I didn't know that it would mean so much to me to reach this milestone as it does right now. So thank you. Thank you with all my heart for being a part of it. As I mentioned, synchronicityuniversity.com. I'm doing classes this whole month on the questions that are most often asked of astrologers. And if you missed a class, that's okay. You can download the replay and learn from infinitely. The class that we had earlier today was on money, work, and career in the astrology chart. Next Saturday is going to be life purpose in the astrology chart, a very popular question that people ask astrologers, and also very popular in terms of how many people are signing up for that class. So thank you. Thank you to everybody who was there earlier today, Saturday, and who has registered so far. I'm so grateful for it. The week following, the Saturday following, it will be luck and fortune in the astrology chart. And then the final Saturday this month is going to be a busy one. It's going to be a busy weekend, the last weekend of this month, because I will be teaching a class on astrological signatures of long-term love. That'll be the class I'm teaching with Synchronicity University. But I'll also be teaching and hosting along with Astrology University as well. And I'll be sharing a lot more details about that next week, so you can sign up for a wonderful event that they will be having. Again, details to follow next week. For this week, one thing I do want to say with this new moon, I did talk about this new moon for all signs in the monthly horoscope, so you may want to have a look again at the October horoscope. It is going to be an important reminder at this time. If you are a cardinal sign, which means that your sign starts a season, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, you are going to feel this as that much more a powerful time, and that much more of an intense time as well. Stronger emotions will be rising to the surface for the cardinal signs out there. If you are an air sign, you'll be able to tap into this energy and use it in a way that much more to your advantage. If you are a fire sign, this does denote a particularly social time as well. Chances are what does arise for you involves your interactions with different types of people. Earth signs are experiencing this new moon most powerfully where it comes to career and work-related matters, and it is the water signs that are experiencing the energy of this new moon and of this week, most notably where it comes to their own journey, their own spiritual journey, and understanding themselves more deeply. It is a powerful time for us all as a collective, and it is a time that in some way is asking us to be more than we've been before, to be better than we've been before. And the only way that we can know where it is that we need to be better is by being honest with ourselves about where we are and how we feel about it. This is the kind of week that does hold a lot of questions, but it also holds brilliant, enlightened, and inspired answers as well. When you feel those strong emotions, trust it, accept it, flow with it, and know that some of the best answers will come in a flash, and they will be deeply meaningful and can change just about anything for the better. Well, thank you again for watching. I'm truly so grateful to have this moment with you and to be some part of affirming what I like to call love and wisdom in the world. And again, thank you so much for 100,000 subscribers. It's just amazing. It's been such a journey. I'm a month away from 10 years on YouTube. And so just persistence, I think, is part of it. And of course, your love is a huge part of it as well. So thank you. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.